You are now listening to the one and the only YPL Rundown.
Welcome to the YPL podcast. We have Kyle here, long-standing title challenger. We got Towels here, Super Bowl champion in the past. What's going on, guys? How's it going?
Doing well. How are you doing?
What up? What up? Thanks for having me, bro.
You see, that's class on the top row, and then that's like what up gangster talk on the bottom. That was interesting parallel for sure.
Tells the young man he's still learning, but he's on the right path.
Got you by 15 years, bro. You could be my dad in some verse.
Might
That's
be
a
a little
push.
weird.
Well, I'm not going to cut any corners here. If you look at the old man here, that's his tag. I'm not just calling him that. He's hot off a few wins. He beat me and Towels within the few days span. He told me in the party, it's going to be awkward if I beat you because I already beat Towels' ass the other day. Interesting. Those are some good wins on your belt, aren't they? Especially for March Madden.
I mean, I don't know if you can call any win in Madden 25 a good win, but yeah, coming into this is just how my wins line up, right? Like, I can beat anybody coming into having to sit through an awkward podcast with you guys. But, you know, if it was a Super Bowl, no shot.
Where do you think the monkey, like, why does it reside on your back in terms of like deep playoff run, Super Bowls? Like you've always been a little snake bitten, but you can always get there. It'd be way different if you had bad seasons. I don't think you've ever had a bad season. I cannot remember.
One year, oh God, who was that old quarterback? He was a tight end for Philly.
Tyree Jackson.
He with that Packers team, I forget what cycle that was, which Madden, you know, this is Madden 20, I don't know. And I think he broke his ankle on like a handoff. It was a run play. He broke his ankle. He missed like 8 weeks, and I had no, you know, we were still transitioning from the group me days, and I wasn't used to like sim rules necessarily. So I think I was like probably 50 million over the cap somehow. However, I doctored that and managed that. So I had no backup quarterback. So I think I had, you know, a punter taking snaps half that season. So that didn't go well. But other than that, yeah.
Interesting. And if you want to go over like the brief overview of the last season, Towels, you were in the Super Bowl. You beat the shit out of Benny after he, you know, this is not me saying it, but you were exposed in that game, as people say. You get the monkey off your back. You go on this deep run. You have some good wins. You meet Terry in the bowl. Give us your thoughts in that game quickly. Like I thought it was really competitive, very, very close, and evenly matched.
So before I talk about that, I want to talk about the last season in general. So everyone kind of said I had an easy schedule, which fair. I joined a team that was like 4-13 last year. Came in with my first cycle back with this Madden, took a break for a while. So I heard in the last podcast you guys were saying this guy, he might be a fraud. He hasn't really beaten anyone. I don't know if he's got his skill back yet. So I don't know. We got to see him play a good user. And then I go into week 15, 16. I play Benny, and I get smoked. Madden is hoeing me every way. Picks, throw out a sack picks, fumbles. And then I see in the game chat after everyone's riding me. Next week I go in playing Miz. And he beats me fair and square, runs a lot of man press. My guys didn't really beat it. I made some bad reads, props to Miz. He played the better game. So at that point, then I still haven't beaten a good user all year. Going to week 18, I forget I played that week. I think maybe EK or something. I smoked him. Going to the playoffs, played Luis round 1. I wasn't really feeling good about that game. Luis has a super team. He's a good player, much improved from last cycle or really any Madden that I played him. Ended up beating him in a shootout and then beat the Rams user badly. I think I dropped 80 points on him. And then we play Benny again in the conference finals. I get my revenge on him. I said he's not good. He makes 0 adjustments. He's not like horrible, but if he makes 0 adjustments, he shouldn't be able to beat a player like on my caliber. So then going into the Super Bowl, got Terry, got a great team, great user. It was a good game all throughout. I threw a really bad pick 6 on an RPO, and that's what lost me the game.
I think that's a fair analysis of it. Go ahead, Kyle.
Tough to go out like that. I've been in that Super Bowl situation where you've got the game in hand, the winning drive is ensuing, you're under 2 minutes, you throw that pick. You've probably thrown that RPO a million times, and
A million times, dude. And this one, pick 6 in the Super Bowl, that one. Probably never throw that RPO again.
like it's weird. I mean, when you're super competitive, whether it's Madden or if you're super competitive at Madden, you're probably just competitive about everything, especially anything sports related. But after a while, the losses stick with you a little bit more than the wins.
100%.
Not for Shallow though. All he has is if he doesn't win in the bowl, he got hoed or something. He gets excluded.
He's fine.
Man, I had EK telling me that I'm the same caliber player he is because I haven't won a bowl in a couple of years. I had EK, the all-time leader in losses. I mean, no one's lost more than him. I'm not putting EK on blast. I'm just saying, like, this is what happens. This is how the league treats you when you're so used to winning, and then you go on a little bit of a dry spell. I had Mark beat throughout 3.5 quarters, and I was getting killed in that game with fucking nonsense. And like you, Towels, I threw one bad pass in fucking 60 minutes of play. Like, it was a long game, and I lost the game on a pick 6. I got the ball back, insta shed, three and out. I throw a fucking dot, like 3rd and 10 all the way down the field. My fucking running back drops. It was heartbreaking, but games like that make you realize you can hang with the best, right? That's kind of what it's about. You can't look at it as a loss every single time. It sucks, but if we all stacked up our Super Bowl losses, we'd be looking at a trophy full, like a room full of shit. Mark has like 7 of them, but he won 2 or 3, so he's like the second best all time. It's you get more losses than wins as you go, except unless you're Terry. 2-1's pretty good. 2-1's pretty good.
2-1 is very good. I mean, props to Terry. I kind of gave him shit early in the cycle that he was. I felt like he was overinflating his success a little bit due to his team, but he's proven that season 3, season 4, once the other teams have kind of caught up, he's still obviously right at the top. So good for him. He's a good user. He proved me wrong. I ate my words a little bit on that.
He's good. He's one of the only dudes who can seriously lurk the shit out of somebody. Like, there's only a couple guys like that in YPL I can name on the top of my head. Like, in lurkability, he's got a really good user. Like, for a sim player, and probably never really played much MUT in his life, like, I don't really know how you get it. Kyle, you've had it because you've been playing Madden for like 35 or 40 years, but and Towels, I don't know how your user game is looking. It's probably pretty good, but like, it's just a feeling thing, and that comes with reps. You can't watch a YouTube video and learn how to lurk. I mean, you can, but it's a clickbait. It's a title. Hey, if you undercut every route, you have to look at formations, route combos, and things like that. That's how you get a feel for it, right?
I think lurking has a lot to do also with trusting yourself and trusting what you put on the field as your defense. You have to kind of read what you're putting onto the field and what you think is going to be open, and you have to trust yourself to actually go and cover that.
I agree with that.
Yeah, Shaw and I have talked about this. I don't want to say that we're more defensive players because we all like. You're a little bit more methodical, I think. Towels, Shaw and I just like to throw it deep a lot. If we can, we're going to. But knowing where your defense can get beat and having to take that, finding or knowing those areas and taking them away with your user is like critical. Whatever you're playing. If you're going to play man, know where those man beaters are going to hit. If you're in a certain kind of zone, same thing. But yeah, Terry is when I first played him, or the first couple of times I played him, he did a ton of the kind of an old school like cover one, but dropping an end or an outside backer in a purple, like a cloud flat, and then kind of usering the middle or taking away the other flat. Taking away those weak spots in man coverage, right? That you're kind of hoping to attack when you see that. And I kind of thought he was a one-trick pony, but he's adjusted and he's kind of mixed up his looks and his coverages a lot since then. So like I said, hats off to him this cycle.
Yeah, he's been the player of the cycle. It always hurts me to say things like that. For some reason, I have this big ego because of this fucking league and because of playing because of my beautiful neon record. By the way, that guy who hit you up, Kyle, I got a better neon record than you, and he's not hitting me up. I don't know what's up with that, man.
I don't know what to say to that.
I'm not saying you have a good neon record. I think I play less Madden than you, so when I do win in like the one league or maybe the two league I play in like temporarily, it's gonna show because I play more games. You play more games, you know.
Where can I see that? I'm gonna go to Neon. I've never looked at that before.
Go to Neon and then click on your username. Like if the team is associated with you, like if you're the Raiders, whatever, it'll come up. It's like your own individual page. You can look at your reputation there. Shout out Drake Yard, man. He'll be on the podcast soon. We already are in talks about that. But that dude is he's making like $30,000 a year off a franchise, 30 grand a cycle, something like that. Pretty amazing. Yep.
Yeah, we're doing it wrong.
I know. We're the fucking dumbass consumers. We should be the proletariats, right? No. We're the proletariats now. We should be the bourgeoisie. It sounds cooler, you know? Really revolutionize Madden.
Charles, do you even know what he's talking about right now?
I have no idea what that means. I know what he's talking about with like Dracoid and on.
It's okay, Talos. I'm not gonna dumb you up. We already had this stupid fucking political discussion in the group chat. Mish said any people under like siege or like being fucking oppressed, they're gay if you create activism for it. So we're not gonna get into all that right now. Just don't. Activism is stupid. Just live in horrible conditions forever. That's the Mish way. Talos, you told me before the podcast you wanted to take the mic for a moment and talk to me about something or talk to us. So go ahead. I'm gonna give it to you. I hope you remember and go on.
I just wanted to kind of start with like how I got here and what kind of happened throughout the years, because I know some people think there was some beef with me in YPL, which I wouldn't necessarily say it was beef, but I was kind of fed some information that wasn't necessarily true from somebody I'm not going to mention the name of. But so the only thing that really happened that kind of stuck with me as like a breach of the rules was in Madden 22. So I just joined the league. I was the Browns. I got put in a really good division. I think I was actually in there one season before with the Saints in Madden 21 or 22, but that didn't really count. It was just one season. But then the next season, I'm kind of thought of as mediocre, which I was in PS4 Madden. So I was put in division with Ushala and Marcus Munch of the Ravens.
That's a hard one.
I wanted to make a trade before the season because they said you could put linebackers, not linebackers. You said you could put safeties at sub linebacker. So I was going to put Grant Delpit at sub linebacker, and I was going to trade off Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. So I ended up doing that. And right after the trade's done, they said, you can have a safety at sub linebacker, but you can't use them. That was nowhere in the rules. There was nothing that was said about that. I couldn't reverse the trade. So then I'm stuck with like 62 overall Devin Harper for like seasons at linebacker. And that definitely gave me a sour taste in my mouth for a while. I kind of let that stick with me for a while. But after that, there really wasn't anything that YPL did to me or that anything else besides like the trolling. Like we all troll each other after games. We have fun with it. But that's like the only thing I can think of with like anything to do with corruptness. Like there's definitely none. Mish does his best. He's a great commissioner. Actually, really underrated Madden player too. Gives me a lot of trouble when we play him. He's methodical, like you say, methodical Mish. Great player, great dude. Glad to be part of the league again.
I think the term is meddling, Mish, but I'm not going to get into Bradster propaganda because next thing you know, some random user's going to join and say, "You took away my kicker's X factor. You made Tony Pollard a normal dev when he should have been a star. You didn't let me upgrade my quarterback's throw power deep, whatever." He is a master propagandist, and he is a good troll. It's annoying because these guys respond to him. If it was just Bradster talking to himself in general, no one would care. They say Brad's dumb, but they say Brad's dumb and annoying. And annoyance is only an extension of like, he's getting attention. If he was not considered annoying, he would never be getting attention. I digress. Bradster, I know you're going to be watching to Clip Farm and put this on your TikTok and then make like an edit of me talking about you. After you run for like a 7-yard run to ice the game, you're gay. I'm not monetizing anyway. You're just gay.
Why does Brad suck so hard in YPL?
I think it's a troll. I think he's better than that.
That's what Chal and I were talking about before. He trolls YPL. He purposely doesn't develop his team. But then in his league, he's just amazing. He's like a great passer. He's a great runner, a great defender.
He's actually good at the game. Like, it's kind of surprising. He's good at the game in the sense that, like, being bludgeoned with, like, I don't know, a sledgehammer would be a good way of, like, killing someone. But, like, it's just you know what's coming, right? You just can't stop it because this game just doesn't let you do that. It's going to be a tight end corner out. It's going to be a halfback angle route, and it's just going to be a quarterback scramble if none of those aren't open within like half a second. And the other 70% of the time it's an inside zone or a stretch, but no, he's it doesn't matter if you're predictable if you can get away with it, and he annoyingly does a lot of the time. So, like, you know what? Props for, I guess, sticking to your game plan, Bradster. But, like, it's kind of funny how it has to be intentional why he's so shit in YPL.
I'd like to advocate next cycle that Bradster gets the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. I would really like to see.
Oh, Jesus.
With that. I would like to advocate that. He
would trade fucking Henry for Garendo in a second. That 95 speed Niners backup, the running back. He's like the only fast running back in the entire game, basically. And he would go on conservative, and he would break fucking tack. I mean, we were there for Mostert. That was some of the darkest times. A lot of the new users won't understand what we went through in that year. That was not fun. That was bad.
But he didn't forward days of PS4. Yeah.
It's gay because no, he didn't win any Super Bowls, but like he propped up the stat padded like career of Army being like a borderline Hall of Famer just by beating Bradster, being able to pass and put 10 guys in the box. But then again, Bradster would have been like a 3-time champ if Army didn't exist, probably. So I'm kind of thankful for that. That's a good thing. Because it would be called Bradster's League. It wouldn't be called YPL if you won a ring.
The only time he lost with that San Francisco team in the playoff, I think I beat him in the playoffs twice with the Eagles. But
I beat him once or twice
to the Super Bowl.
He beat me a couple times too. Me and him played like in 3 or 4 playoff games. Like it was crazy. But he won a lot. I mean, we won a lot of years that cycle also, so there was a lot of opportunity to win and lose in the playoffs for everybody.
Yeah.
He's controversial.
So, I mean, in this cycle, are we approaching what Shala likes to call Jawsy Bowl territory, or is it still? I feel like there's still enough competition that you could, feel good about winning a Super Bowl, but maybe not. I don't know. Have we reached that point yet?
It's a good question because there was kind of this unofficial trade that happened about 2 seasons ago, or it was 2 seasons now, where we trade Mark unofficially and we get Steady and we get towels in return in one conference.
Mm-hmm.
If that happened now, I would say that was a move that happened too late. But the fact that they're involved, I mean, Towels made the Super Bowl last season, so you can't really discredit that. The fact that it worked out. I think there's still a lot of competition to go. It's unfortunate that we have a couple of straggling teams that we haven't really been able to fill all year, so it's not like it's anything different than what it is right now. Matt leaving obviously was annoying because he was long-standing, whatever, but I won my first Super Bowl in year 5, and I went in year 4, and when I won in year 5, I was really happy. I think if I won this season, I would also be happy in the same way. Not the same way as my first, but I would be satisfied. Once you get past like year 6 and year 7 is where it starts getting real crazy. I think year 5 is probably the last real Super Bowl because year 1 is like you could have the 95 overall Ravens swap, smash everybody with the overall. And then year 2, it's like the teams get a little better. Year 3, 4, and 5 is like the most fair to me, in my opinion. 4 is a good one. That's a really good one to win, in my opinion.
3 and 4, right? For sure. Like it's kind of, we've had enough time. You've maybe recovered some teams that were like maybe a little on the, a team with like older veteran and like some X Factor players that are on the edge of, being past their prime. Now they've kind of slowed down or regressed or retired. The playing field is level-ish, as close as it can get at least.
That's fair. I was just thinking before the podcast started, if you compare our 3, like we have collectively, What are you at, 4-2, Kyle?
Yeah, we'll see how this sim goes with Benny. I get to live off my win over you two, so I'm just gonna ride that as long as I can, to be honest.
That's your first win against me in a while, isn't it? Right?
Since season 1, I think.
Yeah, I think that was season, or maybe like season 2 we split, but we whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Towels, you're having a great season this year. Have you had any adversity yet so far?
So I got a new quarterback he was a 74 overall normal dev. He's got great attributes and physicals, but he has definitely had some games where he just can't make a throw. He'll throw 3 or 4 picks, and there's really nothing I can do about it. But my defense is so good now. I traded for Eric Stokes. I traded for DJ Turner, and I already have Deontay Banks. So the great defense with already Dexter Lawrence, Daniel Hazelton, and Brian Burns on the defensive line. The defense really makes the team, and I don't think there's any way that I shouldn't be in the Super Bowl. It would be a disappointment if I'm not.
We missed the window of opportunity for you versus Steady. Obviously, Steady shit the bed, and he's like 28 touchdowns, 2 picks right now. He's smashing everybody up, except AG. Annoying AG. He's annoyingly good. Can we say it 100 times? Can we say it more? The guy is a legend at running zig routes, in and out. Like, I don't understand how he always beat. No, I'm sorry. I just went on this whole glazing tirade. It was Luis that beat him. Luis is having a great season, but like, is there any desire, because you already went to the Super Bowl, you had Terry on the breaking point, like it was a very close game. Do you even care about playing Steady anymore? Like, is that allure kind of gone now?
I'm 2-1 against him all time. We split in both Super Bowls. He beat me by 30. I beat him by 20. I would like to meet him in this championship game. I think that would be a good matchup. But we play in the regular season. That doesn't matter to me. I'm just going for stats that game, to be honest with you. But yeah, if we meet in the championship game, I think that'd be a great game, really competitive. 2 methodical, good players going at it.
Would you call Steady methodical, Shala?
Nah, I think adjustment-wise, he is definitely. I don't know. There's so many angles you could look at this, right? Like Steady, I think he knows the tees a little better. I think Towers is much more adjustable, especially on defense. A lot of Steady's defense, it's super stock outside of one adjustment. And Steady seems to be the deep play hunter. And that's where I think Towels can grind you out. He can also bomb you. But I think Steady intermediately finds 35, 40-yard gains seemingly out of nowhere, constantly. And that's what makes him dangerous. Like, it's a different difference in style for sure. Like, I think, like, the league has been waiting for this fucking game. It'd be really funny if it never happened. But, no, I wouldn't call Steady methodical, no. I think Talos is much more methodical. I mean, Mitch is the most methodical of all time, but I wouldn't necessarily say that being methodical at that level is very good. It's just it's an aspect.
I'll rephrase. He's methodical on defense. When I'm listening to his streams and he tells me what he's going to do on defense based on what the offense is doing, I would say in that sense he is methodical. But offensively, yeah, you're right.
There's certainly a clear thought process and strategy to everything he's doing. So I'll give him that. Like, he knows what he's doing. He knows the video game mechanics of everything that's happening at all times. And Shal and I have talked about this with another, I don't know if I'd put him in that same caliber, but a guy that we've played a lot of squads with that is just, he knows how, he knows football too, so I'm not just gonna put him in a box and say that he just cheeses the game, but he might as well have coded Madden. Like, he just knows the insides and outs of how to manipulate the game. And this year, your abilities, your things that work against a certain coverage or a certain leverage or a certain look. It's not 100%. Shala had to play against me in our game where he's got, a tight end with mid elite or mid out elite, whatever his route ability was. And he's one-on-one with a safety and man coverage, which I'm sure I could look up Trevon Moehrigg's man coverage. It's probably terrible. And he just jumped the shit out of it. It should have been an ability lighting up easy wide open throw. And it just wasn't there. And that unpredictability that not having what you've seen in the past with Madden, where you're like, oh, I know this route's going to win. I know this thing that I'm doing on offense is going to win against the the coverage or the leverage or whatever I'm seeing in front of me. And not having that being 100%, that brings the steadies and the guys like that back down to earth, in my opinion.
And see, that's where it's frustrating, though, that there are some people who just instantly will throw streaks to a 99 speed receiver and just say, oh, I think he's going to win, so I'm just going to throw this, and I don't care about anything else. I'm just going to throw the ball, and if it works, it works. And for a lot of people, it works, and it's really stupid. It takes zero skill, and that's something that I hope Madden does change. Like, if you shade over top or you back your corner off, like, he should not be getting beat deep ever, no matter how slow he is.
Right. I mean, historically there was always what made Madden a good game. Regardless of in certain years it felt like more or less of an actual football simulation, but whether it was a glitch or an exploit or not, there always used to be a counter punch for everything. For every punch, you had a counter punch, and you had to just kind of build up your repertoire, all the tools in your toolbox, if you will. But if you played enough and had all the reps, like Shaw was saying earlier, then you got to see everything after a while, and you could see a glitch coming or if somebody's doing the same thing, that's one thing. But not being able to take away somebody throwing a streak every play, I think you guys are plenty capable of doing that, and most users, I think, in YPL would be. And I don't think most of the users in YPL are abusing the same thing over and over, except for AG with return routes. But
Death by return routes.
He's a legend with them. He's amazing.
They're so hard to stop. I love them. But,
I surprisingly kept it in check, but even on like a couple of crucial third downs, it was like, fucking, he got me. Had a little bit of a hell game with AG last night. It was fun. It was good. He always gives me a hard game. He always blows out Viper, and then Viper like either beats the shit out of me or I win by like a score. Very annoying. Very annoying.
Well, the point I was just trying to get to, and I know I can drone on sometimes, but this man, there isn't necessary. You might think you know what's coming, and you're like, oh, I'm going to put the guy there, and then the counter punch just, the guy doesn't animate, or there'll be some crazy aggro catch, or you guys just won't react at all. Like the not having a defense or a counter punch for those things that are like pesky, annoying, like people run them because they just work. That took something out of the game, and that's kind of been the PS, like the next gen, or now if you want to just call it current gen experience, in my opinion. Like since PS4, or this comes with the old man tag, but since PS3 or regular Xbox for me, and before that, that's as far back as I'm gonna go. But there was always a counterpunch. There could be any trick that you'd see in the game. There was always something to try and counter it. So I don't think, since we've ported to current gen or PS, whatever you want to call PS5, like there isn't always that. So mix that with like the unpredictability and just kind of how the game plays. Like part of me appreciates that it's there aren't 100% given wins, in certain situations. Like the game should be unpredictable, but I think a lot of us miss the idea that like if you have a good player, he should be more dominant, and some things like that should be a little bit more reeled in my opinion. But who knows? Look at the D line, my D line's getting after people now, so maybe they tweaked it.
Maybe they tweaked it. We actually have a user-submitted question. Can you believe that? Some YPL user just thought with their time in their day, in between wives and kids, jobs, jerking off, and playing the game, they wanted to send me a question. The question is, gentlemen, what are the biggest rivalries in YPL currently and all time? That's a pretty good question. That's a pretty good question. Towels, you have the least YPL experience, so how about you go first, and then we can kind of build on that.
With all time, that's tough.
So go current first. Go current first. Should be an easy answer.
You think current's easy? Because I feel like there's a lot of different rivalries where people are kind of kind
If
of.
you could pick one, nitpick one, it doesn't have to be a ranking or anything.
If you had a rival, Towels, who would it be?
If I did, I would say before we joined Party Chat, it'd probably be me and you. But now our games are more chill.
So you've been taken out of that factor. So who is it, Talos?
Take me out of the equation.
That's really tough. I would almost want to say after last season, but I wouldn't put him on your caliber. Maybe you and Viper, Shala. With all the backlash and all the talk that went on after that, I went on for weeks and weeks. You know, I haven't seen something like that in a minute. If you want to talk,
I just kept calling him a troglodyte, but we hashed it out. You know, I think I'll play him later this season. It's not going to matter. That was a silly game that we played for sure.
Actually, like gameplay wise and competitiveness, I think Luis and Mish is a really good rivalry.
It's a good rivalry. I think if you want my pick on the current, I love Steady and Luis. I think it's perfect. I think there's fire there. I think it's good. I think Steady gets riled up. There's this screenshot. I'm gonna have Luis send it on the computer so I can screen share the screenshot of Steady. It's Luis. He's up all these scores and Steady just hangs his head down and he knows it's over. It's a beautiful picture. It's like emotion. It's vibrance. It's anger. That's a great modern day year 5 rivalry to me.
Huh.
What do you think, Kyle?
I would have thought Steady and Towels, just for like recent. You know,
we've played each other really recently though. Currently,
sure. But yeah, in division rivals are always good.
I think with a rivalry, there has to be at least some bit of bad blood, at least some tension.
Right.
I don't have any there with Steady.
There's no bad blood. It's just like two competitors, right? Basically.
Right. Exactly.
And what about the all-time list? There's some good ones. There's some really, really good rivalries all time. They don't even have to be historic Super Bowl. Like a really underrated one that was hilarious. Mish really did not like Michi very much. That was kind of a rivalry. That was almost systemic to blows. Like these guys were talking about fucking each other up.
That was hilarious. I was actually in Michi's league for a while. Michi told me that he dropped his address to Davsky and said anytime he can pull up. It was so funny. He actually acted like he was going to do it. But I guess it never got to that point where I guess it was just video game talk at the end of the day.
It was interesting. That was interesting for sure. That was a really funny time. The all-time rivalry. It's so hard. That's a really difficult one. You have anything in mind, Kyle?
You know, part of me, just from the volume of Super Bowl matchups, I was kind of looking at you and Mark. I'm trying to see if there were, and that's got to be one of the most common or like most repeated Super Bowl matchups over the years.
Yeah, it was those were good games. I like how I lost the last one. I'm okay with that. Because I gave him one. I chose to give him one because I felt bad. We had good games though, really good games. I didn't pull. I always liked Mark. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I didn't pull punches about the way he played, and I was always the first to criticize him in his stat padding ways. When Mish raised me a different way. Now I want to stat pad, and it's not cool. But whatever. I'm gonna get called a faggot for that in a clip. I'm just saying we had really good games, and I thought he was a hard fight. He was a good opponent. He wasn't the best I ever played, but he was very good.
Real quick on that situation about Mark. I've heard some things, but I'm not going to say like it's true or not because I haven't been here long enough.
You're a conspiracy theorist. Let it loose.
I heard him and Jakey Lad had some kind of thing where Jakey Lad would trade him a player for really cheap, and then Mark would trade him back for like 4 first-round picks like a couple of seasons later, and they did this multiple times. That's what I've heard.
You're talking about me. Host, not Mark.
That's me.
Jakey Lad and Mark. That's what I've heard.
I can explain this a little bit quickly. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. I traded for Javonte Williams and like Von Miller in like year 1 or year 2. I wanted a pass rush. I was like, fuck it, throw Javonte in as a throw in. I don't even know what I sent in, probably like a first and some trash, but I wanted a pass rush. I overpaid, whatever. Javonte, for some reason, develops like crazy in my team, and he's really good. He's like 91 speed, like 95 trucking, 90 juking, like 99. Really, really good. And he's still moderately young. And Jakey's like, I want a running back, brother. Like 2 or 3 seasons later. It's later in the cycle. And I give him, I send this to Mission, and Mission's he just goes, you're a F @ GGOT for sending this. I'm not gonna out myself on the podcast. But yeah, he was like, if I approve this, I never want to see a trade like this again. And like the roasting that happened to Jakey Dad's like life, it was like Javonte Williams for a second and a fourth. It wasn't even like a big deal. And they were like, I can't believe this. But Mark traded his 99 DT with Jakey, Byron Murphy the second or something, Byron, whatever the fuck his name is, for that Niners linebacker and some other
Fred.
stuff. Yeah, Fred Warner. And Fred Warner became like an instant impact player, had a pick six in the Super Bowl against Terry, beat him. So that was, pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, Warner was one of Mark's guys. He went for Warner in, I think, most of the leagues I'd been in with him or that I'd seen him.
Warner and Mark Andrews, those are his two guys.
Yep.
He did not miss on trades ever. That's the one good thing about Mark. Like his development's insane. He knows where the value is. He doesn't give a shit about the criticism when he's developing his team, and he gets older players because he knows they're good for a couple runs. Mark Andrews was not young when he traded for him, and neither was Fred Warner. They were like 28 to 29, and they're already getting old now. He knows where the value is. The guy never makes a bad trade, ever. Even the DK Metcalf trade, in hindsight, he won a lot of games with them. Where I traded him Pat Surtain.
Yeah, I mean, no one's ever doubted Mark's team building ability. He's been one of the best.
So you think Towels? You think Kyle said that it's probably me and Mark for the all-time. I think that would be my pick if I wasn't talking about myself. I think a really good rivalry that's underrated was Towels, take the reins for a second while I think.
Yeah, so something from what I've heard about, not really what I've seen. I've maybe seen it once or twice, but the Army Bradster. That's probably what I would say.
Jitten Logan was a funny one for a while.
Jitten Logan's a good one, yeah.
Classic. Me and Jake for a short minute, before Jake would crash out for the cycle every year.
It's hard to say. It's hard to say because there's only the really shitty part about it is people don't beef enough, which I think people should be incentivized to do. And I think that people don't win enough Super Bowls in reoccurring fashion. I think so. I think me and Terry is a good rivalry. I think if that's one person I'd like to play in a Super Bowl, even though it's impossible, I would love to play him. Me and Kyle have really good games, really competitive games. Another one of my rivals, quote unquote. Like I think those are all pretty solid there.
Yeah, I would love to have a rivalry with Terry, but both teams have to be able to win in order to have a rivalry. So at least not yet.
Interesting. I'm going to change notes real quick. Another user submitted question. This one comes from Ms. Who is a user who didn't participate this year that you want to see come back for Madden 26?
Smoke Wagon. It always has been, always will be.
That's your guy, right? That's like the game you want?
Yeah, you got to, you always want that rematch, right?
What do you think, Towels? And you don't have like a lot of league history, but it's kind of hard to answer is what I'm saying, but go ahead.
No, but I'd like to see Michi come back. That's my boy. We've always been close. We were actually in a division with him in Madden 22. He wasn't an awful player. I mean, he would just crash out and then just go down and down and down after that. Loss after loss after one really close loss. I remember a game particular where I beat him on like a 68-yard field goal.
Ooh.
After that, he lost 12 games in a row. Back when I was the Nick Chubb merchant. I'm sure you remember that well.
Yes. Fall forward year and you'd give it to him 35 times and he would have 10 catches. Shout out Viper. Same performance in the playoffs against me. It just works. That's a way to beat me. If everybody wants to beat me, give the ball to your running back, even if it doesn't work, because it will eventually, and you will gas me out.
It's got to be an inside zone, though.
Oh, every time. Or an inside zone and cut all the way to the outside a la Terry. If he's taking one inside the tackles, he's taking a finger in the ass from his wife. Bang, I just called him out. I'll see you next week, Terry.
Shout out.
Game of the week.
No, I'm sick of Terry game of the weeks. I'm purposely going to fade that one, actually. Sick of that shit.
From like recent memory, that who was the original Giants user? It was some young guy.
Joe Bart owns me, or Joe Bart raised me.
You guys
that was before your time, Towels.
I heard about that.
similar to Michi. Like he was good, and then he would just absolutely lose. Like as soon as the game, as soon as the momentum
The
started
pushback,
to go
right?
against
A
him,
little bit like
and
the Bills now, Skyler. Kind of
He's
similar to
fucking
that.
hilarious, bro. He's one of the funniest people in the history.
I
What
didn't
do
see
what do
this
you
the other
what do
night,
you think
but
the chances
Towels
are
is
that
posting like videos of him like ripping the TV off the wall in other leagues. So
hilarious.
man,
What do you think the chances are that he's back Madden 26?
100%.
100%.
This guy bleeds it. He bleeds YPL. He may be kind of goofy. He's gonna watch it. He's a little dumb at times. Like I tell him to don't break his window pane and stuff or whatever. After his like 1 yard, he has like 10 or 11 1-point losses to Miz or something crazy like that. Like all his losses are like by 1 point. It's got to be demoralizing. But honestly,
After this podcast, you should take a look at some of the clips that I took from his game with Bradster. It is so funny. I took like 8 clips.
it's funny. He's a funny dude. My pick for who I'd want back is Views. I miss Views. I think he was cool. If you remember Views, Kyle, he was a good player, good dude.
I remember Views.
Very
Vaguely.
Jawsy like.
He had the Browns the last time, I'm thinking, unless that was a different league. But I'm trying to. When was the last time he was in YPL?
Probably 22, maybe 23 for a short stint, but he was in YPL for about 2 years.
I
A
remember
year and a half.
him in a Gooseneck Gamer. I remember that dude too.
Gooseneck was hilarious. He beat Mish in a pick 6 in overtime, and Mish fucking crashed out. Like the guy won like one game in like 2 seasons. Mish always loses to players like that. He lost to fucking Michi. He broke the 17-game stretch or whatever, and it was like such an important game for his playoffs. Oh,
man.
YPL is funny. It's funny when you can cultivate a community that has moments like that because no one would ever understand or care about it if it was a short-term trashy group me league or something like that, or a MUT game. Like no one cares about that.
Of course, like bring back Mark just to have him around. I know he's still in the chat for whatever for the memes. Just so I can still add him and bitch at him for sending both DK Metcalf and by way of absenteeism Tariq Woolen, although he kind of sucks, I guess. So
Non-factor. He'll be in the trade block next season. Hit me up, everybody.
Woolen ODB.
But DK Metcalf is so good, it's not even funny. I'm like telling my fucking girlfriend that shit, and she's like, "Yeah, he's a beast." It's just like protocol in the house, Even Arroyo's like, "Yeah, he's a beast."
Should get a little DK Metcalf tattoo somewhere.
That would be stupid. Jake Ladd has a YPL tattoo. Have you ever seen that?
He does have a YPL tattoo, or at least a very convincing photo of somebody that has one.
Okay, last user submitted question here. I don't want to drag it on too crazy because I want to do the tier list and then pack it up. This is from Skyler. I'm not going to pull any punches. I'm going to reveal who it is. So it's going to be a horrible question, right? He's been begging me to fucking say it. If you had to have a threesome with 3 YPL players, so that's a foursome, Skyler, I'll cut your question down. Let's not be gay. If you had to have a threesome with 1 more YPL player and then a random 7 as the female compatriot, who would it be?
Yeah, that's not going to happen. He's a faggot for even thinking of that.
Well, he said 3. You're going to get me demonetized, man. What's wrong with you?
You're going to get demonetized for that question. That's disgusting, dude.
You could say threesome. I don't know. He had the whole gay thing going on. Let's replace 1 with a paid female actress and 1 user. I think that's better. I think I'd pick Bills. I think that'd be a lot of fun. That room would smell like shit, though. Jesus. Yeah. I'd pick Bills.
I picked Steady just to see how awkward I could make him feel.
If Steady finished really quickly, would you urge him to sit in the corner and watch?
I don't think I didn't see. This is why I pick him. It's just you never know. I don't know what the hell would happen. Maybe he can't perform. Maybe he balls out. Who knows? Maybe he just backs away.
I'll go ahead, sorry, Kyle. I thought you were done for a second.
My internet blueprint is important. I pass on this question.
Okay.
Interesting.
Respectfully.
You're playing the good guy role. Okay, who would you go on a picnic with?
A picnic? Me and Bradster. I'll go with Bradster.
Right, so you guys are cut from the same cloth, right from the same shirt.
You said we sound alike. Might as well.
That's fair. I had someone send a dossier to me, some very important and sneaky stuff here. I'm going to share a screen with you guys so you both can look. Kyle, I was just talking about this picture before. I'm going to show it now. I'm just going to share a screen. I'll let you know when I'm ready. Just a moment here. I gotta get like a producer. This is stressful. Doing all this
If
by
you're gonna
myself.
go on a picnic, Towels, go on a picnic with Jawsy. The picnic may end up at a bar, and
I would definitely meet
Strip
up with
club
you.
shortly after,
We would talk our financials.
I don't know if anything would happen really productive.
Okay, I've got the picture up here. Can you guys see it?
Yep.
This is
Yeah.
the steady picture I'm telling about. He looks like a zombie from Minecraft. He looks totally demoralized for the second. It's pretty sad. It's pretty crazy. This is just losing to Luis
is.
effect for sure.
I gotta zoom in a little bit.
I can. There we go. Is that better?
Yep, much better.
Not a happy guy now.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Gentlemen,
When
discourse amongst yourselves for one
Hello.
moment. I just have to answer a phone call. Go ahead, take the reins, everybody.
This is the look when Bradster falls forward for another first down, or like you hold them to 7, you kick off. It's first and starts the series from the 30. You hold him to 7 yards, and then on 4th and 3 from his own 37, he goes for it and scrambles for a first down. But by scramble, I mean like immediately sprints out with the quarterback.
After you hit stick his quarterback 8 times before the play, and he still has full bars, all stamina. Yeah. I can't remember the last time we've made Bradster fumble with a quarterback. I fumble on conservative sometimes. This dude never does.
He sticks to it, man. Just turn that conservative carry on right off the bat.
All right, gentlemen, I'm sorry to leave you hanging for a second. I really appreciate that. I had some urgency on the phone, but I'm back now. Did I miss anything important?
We were just talking about Bradster getting hit stick with his quarterback and never fumbling.
Who has the best hit sticks in YPL?
Marcus.
Munchie, obviously, yeah.
You guys love that old man pick. It's like the most classic fucking pick. Like, new generation is hit sticking harder. Jawsy hits like a motherfucker.
Jawsy does. I mean, I guess I haven't played Marcus enough. Does he still have his fastball?
No, he still does that.
He does it, yeah. We play him this season, Kyle.
I do. Yeah. I've played him once maybe, and I lost. Like it. I don't know if it was. I don't remember getting like hit sticks too much, but I remember Kyle Pitts and Drake London just kind of did whatever they wanted.
He kind of always does whatever he wants. Whenever I play him, I just put like my best, fastest player in the secondary on him like every single play, and I just shade and I hope. Even if it's on, I shade and I hope.
That's it.
Okay, I think it's tier list time. I think it's a good time to bust it out. Let's try going rapid fire with it, right? I'll state the team name. I'll share a screen. We'll all kind of have a conglomerate vote, and then we place. Let me know if you guys can see what I'm seeing right now.
I got it.
Yep, I'm good to go.
So is this text, is it small or is it like pretty visible and solid?
I can zoom in. I'm fine.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, Saints. So the tier list is pick contention number 1, young but intriguing, mediocre at best, whatever.
Are we going based on this season so far, or just what's happened in the past, or what we think?
A little bit of both. Why not?
I think Benny is one of the hardest ones to rate, especially based on this year. I mean, he's had such a hard schedule so far, but he's a really, really solid user. He's not great, but he's solid.
Normally would be better, but this year, potential wild card.
That's probably where I would put him.
So maybe missing playoff teams or mediocre at best?
No, missing play, like just normally better, but so this year.
He's 0-6 right now with the potential of going 0-7, but I could see him sneaking off 10 games in a row.
I think we're like right here, right? Stuck.
I would put him above mediocre.
So missing playoff team probably, but he's 0-6. You know?
Right, but he's probably played the 6 best users in the league.
That's true. That's true.
Last year he was in the conference finals. He's a talented player. He is. He's solid but not great.
He's good. If it depends how this sim goes, because it looks like our schedules probably are not going to line up. So if he loses this sim and is 0-7, like
pack it up.
Sorry,
pack that shit up. It's over. He needs to win this sim and then go on a run. Okay, let's go next. Viper. What are we thinking here? favorites, contenders, playoff teams, potential wild cards. I like him at potential wild cards. What I think.
I like that. I agree.
Yeah.
Fair. I think he's a good, respectable user. Solid. Ravens, we're gonna skip for now. Bengals, I
Not-
like young but intriguing.
That naughty plant.
Naughty
Yeah,
Plan
that is
he's
Naughty
new, but
Plant.
he's in a 2-game win streak. He beat the Bills. You know, for a prospect to beat the Bills, that's actually a pretty good win, I think, right?
It's a solid win.
I've never played Skylar.
He's not like, he's sim as fuck. He's sim as fuck. It's pretty crazy.
I would put him in young but intriguing.
I think that's fair, yeah. Gonna go with the Broncos.
Yeah, put yourself.
I think Super Bowl contender is fair. I'm not gonna go favorite. I don't think I'm the favorite. I don't want to rate myself. I can even be in playoff teams, but
I would definitely go
Contender. You're a
at least.
I'll go contender. I think that's fair. New York Giants. Kyle, this is more a me and you thing. Favorite or contender? You got to go pick one here.
I gotta say
I
contender.
can't think of many favorites, to be honest.
I gotta say contender, yeah.
I think contender. I think it's
And I don't think that's a bad place to be.
it's a good place. I think there's very few. There's like 4 Super Bowl contenders. 5, probably 5. Let's go next. Vikings. Hard, very hard to score. The Vikings.
Potential wild card.
I like potential wild card. What do you think, Dallas?
Hey, I'm between there and playoff teams, but I probably lean potential wild card. He's got a tough schedule.
He does have a tough schedule. Rams. I go playoff team all the way. I think I like the way. I know you beat his ass towels, but like he's developed a lot in my opinion.
I don't know. After the game I had with him, to score 75 points on anyone, especially in a playoff game, I would definitely put him in a missing playoff.
What do you think, Kyle? He's 2-4 this season, so he's not having the best year after 11-5 last year.
I think him and Benny are very similar.
They would have a great game, wouldn't they?
I played him very early on, and at that time I would have said mediocre at best. But if he's improved since then yeah, I'd go up one.
He beat Shane in a playoff game. That's pretty good.
Okay, yeah.
Let's put him at his current status, 2-4. We'll go missing playoff teams, right? That's kind of fair, I would say.
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
Buccaneers just coming off a loss to Jazzy, but beat. I think won 2 in a row prior. Probably just young but intriguing. Make it easy, right?
Sure, I don't know anything about him.
I would see young but intriguing. We'll put the Bengals here just as a filler spot. Lions. It's a tough one. 6-0. I think playoff teams is a good spot.
Playoff team.
Yeah, I think playoff teams is a good spot.
I'm very tempted to say contender with the team that he has.
Late cycle Luis genuinely gets a little hot.
Let's get ballsy and let's put him as a Super Bowl contender. I mean, he's coming off a win against Steady. That's a really good win to have.
It would not shock me to see him winning the NFC this year.
Okay,
here we go.
He must
Chicago
have really
Bears
underperformed against me, huh?
Luis did. He had a bad game against me too last season. It was a close game, but I kind of like let him stat pad a little bit. I could have just been boring and ran it out, but that's what happens when you play in a party. Those days are coming to an end for me, especially after the whole 11-sack performance the other day where you're giggling at me. I hate that shit. On to the next. Bears. Contender, right?
I would put him contender. I think if Caleb Williams didn't get the abilities he had, though, I think you could very well put him in the playoff teams, especially with the performance he had in the playoffs last year.
Kyle, you're saying it's playoff teams?
He could be, I'd put him in contender and Luis in playoff team. They're him and Luis are kind of interchangeable in those spots to me.
Yeah, you got to put them together then.
We'll look at it later. You can always change the list. San Francisco 49ers, which are going to put them in number one pick contention because we don't have a user right now. Eagles, I think the same thing. Raiders. I mean, Utah, what do you think? I think the Super Bowl contenders time is probably now.
Yeah, the way Kyle's playing this year, how he just beat you like that. He said his defensive line is finally performing. I would put him in contenders.
I would put him in contenders. But we got to get some playoff teams in there. I think we're going to have to move someone down at some point. We'll talk about it after.
I'm going to say now I could really see a Kyle Louis Super Bowl this year.
That would feed families. No one would want a ball between them.
That would not shock me.
Green Bay Packers. We have
wishful thinking.
Yep, that's wishful for sure.
Realist is a solid user. Realist, if he's not throwing interceptions, he can beat anybody. He gave me a little bit of a run for my money. He played really good defense. I play with him in other leagues. I talk to him a lot. I would put him in potential wild cards. He beat Mish. I know he lost to Luis pretty bad. I
I
think
haven't seen enough, so yeah, you're probably the better judge for realist.
I like young but intriguing, but he's 35, so I think mediocre at best is just kind of like fits him. Is that rude?
No, it's great.
I don't.
What do you think, Tal?
I-
What do you think here?
At the very worst, I would put him with Benny and the Rams. But he beat Mish. He beat a couple other solid users this year.
Missing playoff? I mean, shit.
He gave me a decent game. I think he
What's
lost.
his record? What's his record?
Let's pull it up.
He's either 4-2, 3-3.
I'm gonna pull it up right now.
I think he's only lost to me and Luis.
Let's take a
I
look.
got standings coming up.
Stifling my
Scrolling
podcast.
down, 3-3.
3-3. Thanks for pulling it up. So I guess missing playoff teams, sure. Let's do a little bit of in my opinion, it's a reach, but whatever. Washington Commanders. I'll take the reins in this one. We're at mediocre at best. No, he's having a good season. Ah, shit, he's having a good season. I can't do that, can I? He's 3-3.
He's
Or maybe-
3-3.
So I guess young but intriguing, right?
Sure.
Yeah. I think. Can I rename this? Young
think
but
you had
intriguing
it.
sounds kind of weird, right?
I think you had it right the first time, but
So young but intriguing, I guess, is kind of like prospect.
But
up
maybe
and comer. Yeah, sure.
Sure. Mediocre at best could be like sub 500, way below 500. There we go. That makes a lot more sense now. Now it's a little clear. Missing playoff team could be like outside looking in.
There you go.
That makes more sense. They had some weird like labels for it. Okay, back to work. Sorry, gentlemen. Arizona Cardinals. It'll be my first pick for playoff team.
It's an obvious playoff team. It's obvious.
Playoff teams, I like that. What do you think, Kyle? You agree, or you think potential wild card?
No, it's a play. It's partially a product of the division, right? But he's a playoff team.
I think so too. Steelers. We're looking at
Contender.
contenders. Yeah.
Maybe
contenders.
favorite. If there's a favorite in the group, it's probably Terry.
What do you think, Talis? Is he the favorite to you?
Yeah, he's won 2 Super Bowls. He beat me in the last one. He's got a great team. I don't know. I think he's probably the favorite. But
if there is one favorite, that's probably fair to put him as the favorite.
But I think he also is on the same tier as all the other players. And
I don't think he's like a step ahead of anybody, really. No.
I think that's fair though for favorites. He's won 2 of them. The other person who won him's not here.
And
Buffalo
been
Bills.
to 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think so.
I like the Bills and potential wild card.
Damn, that's some praise. He's 3-3. He lost his last game by 1 point. Talk about quitting. He just said tag me when the next advance happens. But if you like outside looking, what do you think, Kyle?
Has he made the playoffs once yet? He has not, has he?
Well, no, he missed it at 10-7. If you can believe that.
Outside looking in.
Outside looking in. Atlanta Falcons. Hard one. That's a tough one to do.
Great user that struggled recently.
It's kind of being a recurring theme of struggling for Marcus. I think Kyle is kind of aware of that as well. He struggles at random times with random players, and it comes kind of often to the point where it's a little difficult to rate him. Do you think that's true, Kyle?
Yeah, Marcus can get, he's streaky, right? I don't know if it's just he has other stuff going on in life or, he'll go on a skid once in a while, but he can also make it to a Super Bowl. So he's a playoff team in my mind.
I would put him in potential wild card.
I think potential wild card works with me because he's 2-4, gentlemen.
He's 2-4 right now, yeah.
Seahawks has enough games in his belt. I'm going to put him at number 1 pick contention for my own pick. What do you guys think?
I agree.
Yeah.
Has not won a user game, but if you're listening, I do respect your level of play. At the end of this, I'll move these 3 fillers back to the bottom so we can get like a nice clear picture image of what we think, right? New England Patriots.
That's a playoff team.
Playoff team, right?
Yeah.
Any disagreements, Kyle? Playoff team?
No.
he's made the playoffs a bunch of times. Had some, he's ups and some downs. He won some playoff games, lost some playoff games. That's how it is. Static, hard to say.
I would say way below 500 from the game that I played against him.
Do you disagree, Kyle?
What team is it?
He's the Browns. He's like a Rockman clone. He's not
Oh.
very good. Lost to Bradster in the game of the week that I picked him in like a dummy. Lost by a bunch of scores. So I think way below 500 probably is the way to go for my pick as well.
Yeah, he was 1-5. Yeah.
Yeah, way below 500. This is like where some shitty teams happen. I'll skip the Chiefs and the Texans for now. The Dallas Cowboys. It's a very weird team to rate. He's really weird. Justin is a beast.
He's a good
Plays
player.
his fucking game. Show up. He could put it together, right? He's possible.
Outside looking in?
That's probably where I would put him.
The classic, one of the hardest picks you could possibly do. Jawsy. I like potential wild card. I think he's having a good season.
Yeah, I like
I think
that.
that's fair.
Jets. Unfortunate. I want to put him in the way below 500 tier, but he's mid to me.
Yeah, I put him mid.
But he is way below 500. I mean, you want to know, whatever. Let's be nice. Let's be nice to Roman. Putting him in mid. Even though I think him and Static would have a great game, but let me not start that controversy right now.
What happened to Roman? Like Roman, and for a season or two, I felt like playing Roman and playing AG, I was playing the same person.
Yeah, they're very similar for sure. Grindy in a way, right?
Well, and I'm pretty sure Roman gave me a pretty hefty loss, but yeah, kind of either fell off or didn't develop his team. Either way, go on.
Let's continue. The Carolina Panthers. What are we thinking here?
I think playoff team.
I think playoff team. Yeah.
Yeah.
With Benny, look at it this way. Benny is 0-6, potentially 0-7 coming up. Marcus is 2-4. And he did lose to the Buccaneers, which makes me want to go potential wild card, but he's technically in the lead of the division by 2 games. I think it's fair for playoff team, right?
Yeah.
Okay, playoff team it is. Tennessee Titans.
Here's a hard person to rank.
Very hard. Right in between mid and outside looking in for me. What do you guys think?
I got him an outside looking in, maybe potential wild card. But with this team that he's got and the way that he plays with this team, definitely more leaning outside looking in.
Yeah, but for this season, yes.
Sure. Colts, playoff team, right? Pretty solid.
Playoff team.
Jid is a very consistent player. That's one thing you can say about him. He's very consistent. Jacksonville Jaguars is the last official pick. What do we think, fellas?
I'd say playoff team too, maybe potential wild card.
He's currently 1-4, but I think he's much better than that record.
Definitely. I'm shocked he's
1-4. Trouty is reminds me of Jit before he had, a little bit better seasons and more success.
Mm-hmm.
Or he's better than that record.
And he's better than that old Jit too, also, right? Even though it reminds you of him, he won a YPL playoff game. He's pretty good.
Yeah, he's legit.
He's legit. He's solid. He's solid.
You can't put a 1-4 team in the playoffs. I'd say potential wild card. I'll put him with Marcus.
I think outside looking in is my pick on it. What do you think, Kyle?
Either one of those fits the season so far.
Let's give the respect and put him in outside looking in. Let's pull these teams off. Got the Eagles, Niners. We can rate Matt's, what's it called? But there's no point. We have users for a few teams, just to clarify. We have a guy that just took the Niners, Sim God. I just played with him. If I could rank him, I would put him on outside looking in or potential wild card. He's pretty good. He's either taking Niners or Texans. He's pretty good. The only team in number 1 pick contention, Seahawks. Sorry. We just want to see you win and play a little better. Way below 500 is the static kid. Mid is going to be Roman for obvious reasons. Washington, it's EK, but he's playing a lot better. Bucks and Bengals are rookies. Can't really complain there, right?
I think that's fair. I think everything looks pretty solid. I'd like to hear what everyone else thinks on this, what they think of their own rankings, what they think of everyone else. I don't feel like there's any bias that we put towards this at all.
I don't think so. Podcast viewers, if you want to talk about this in the next episode, there'll be some outrage. People will be taking screenshots of the screen recordings. People are going to be crashing out over it. If I could change one thing about it, I would put Luis in playoff teams, and I think I would do that probably, and then maybe I'd put Towels in the Super Bowl favorites because I think he's much more well equipped to be in the Super Bowl coming out of the NFC compared to Steady. But things can change. Things can change. We can even revisit this at the end of the season. That'd be really smart to do. I think so.
I would move myself down one.
Just a playoff team?
Yeah.
Kyle doesn't want all that pressure.
Well, until you prove it. I mean, you got to make it to a Super Bowl.
I would still say you're a contender.
We'll see.
It's about the deep runs in the playoffs, and people will always remember you going making it deep. And with the game of the week system, the way it's structured, if you're like a favorite, you got a guy that people always bet on you, and you're consistent. People are going to remember that. So that's also like the social aspect to like game of the week and all the things that do their thing.
There you go. You're welcome, everyone, for the game of the week points.
That's it. You're always really good in game of the week, which is nice. It's always a free vote for you. Even though you have a tough opponent, I'm like, he's got it. It's easy. Just game of the week performer. And I think we all hit on game of the week this week. Did we all take Jazzy?
Definitely took Jazzy.
Did he cover?
Oh, he won by 2 scores, so he covered, baby. Let's
hell
go.
yeah.
Give me that fucking point. Give me that point. That's what I'm talking about. Any last thoughts, Towels? Undefeated in the season. You're obviously hunting for the bowl. What's keeping you hungry for the remainder? Just stats and developing that quarterback, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, I just want to get the quarterback developed. I'm still kind of learning the game. I still don't think I'm where I was last year yet. But hopefully by the end of the season, I'm at the point where I can compete for the Super Bowl and maybe win it this time.
Sure. That's a good assessment. Kyle, coming up a big win last week. That's going to give you momentum for the remainder, especially because the bye is probably coming up for you. I know my bye is coming up soon. I think yours probably is too, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a good push. Hopefully you get that fair sim win or force win over Benny. You get through that. You got to be aiming pretty high for the season then, right?
Yeah, no reason not to make a good push into the playoffs again and see if it was interesting watching Steady in some of his streams. I'd never watched that before. It's kind of funny listening to him talk to his team and the digital players and like trying to urge them to like do their job or praise them when they do.
Yeah, he puts on a persona. And
well,
it's fun.
I mean, you kind of need that, right? Well, I don't know. Maybe some users don't. I need the CPU guys to do their job. I'm not a dominant user that takes away enough to get away without it. So, when you have that kind of play style, I guess, and I know obviously we all need the team to do their part, but like if you can get into the postseason and the D-line tees off like they've been doing, yeah, anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Well, this has been the YPL podcast. Guys, I really appreciate it. Kyle, thank you. Towels, thank you. Good luck the remainder of the season, and that's it. It's a wrap. Thanks.
Thanks for having us.